Arun, sound.
य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति कामं 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 कामंशो पुरुषो निर्विमाणः निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तदेव शुक्रब्रह्मा तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनात्यपि कश्चन एतद्द्वैत 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 एतद्द्वैत.
Thank you all. Now I request C.A. Sujit Kumar Jain, Chairman of Nellore Branch, to give his opening remarks.
Good evening to all the participants. Today I would like to seek permission from all of you to speak in Telugu so that it can reach all the participants. So first of all, ముందరగా నేను నా ధన్యవాదాలు తెలుపుకుంటున్నాను మన SIRC చైర్మన్ సిఏకే జలపతి గారు, తర్వాత మా గెస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆనర్ సిఏటి చిన్నమస్తాన్, ఆయన మన బ్రాంచ్ నెల్లూరు బ్రాంచ్ కి ఎక్స్ అఫీషియో మెంబర్ కూడా, అండ్ మన ఫ్యాకల్టీ సిఏ గోపాల్ కృష్ణరాజు గారు మా అవమానాన్ని మన్నించి ఈరోజు ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్కి వచ్చినందుకు. అండ్ ఇంకా చెప్పాలంటే గోపాల్ కృష్ణరాజు సార్ ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్ అనుకున్నప్పుడు సారే చెప్పారు, ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్ ని పబ్లిక్ లోకి తీసుకెళ్దాం, పెద్దదిగా వెళ్దాం. యాక్చువల్ గా ఇది ఒక చార్ట్ అకౌంటెంట్స్ వరకే ఫస్ట్ అనుకుంది, సార్ ఇన్స్పిరేషన్ తో ఈ ప్రోగ్రామ్ ని పబ్లిక్ లోకి తీసుకెళ్దాం అనుకున్నాము. సో ఈరోజు ఇది చేయగలిగాము. థ్యాంక్ యూ గోపాల్ కృష్ణరాజ్ సార్ ఫర్ ఇన్స్పైరింగ్ అస్. సో ఈరోజు టాపిక్ వచ్చి MSME సర్వైవ్ అండ్ రివైవ్. అంటే ఫస్ట్ కాళ్ళ మీద నిలబడి తర్వాత ఎగిరేటట్టు. సో MSME అంటే అసలు M అంటే మైక్రో, S అంటే స్మాల్, M అంటే మీడియం. సో మనకున్న ఈ బిజినెసెస్ కానీ ఇండస్ట్రీస్ కానీ దీనిని గవర్నమెంట్ ఒక 3 కేటగిరీస్ లో డివైడ్ చేసింది, మైక్రో, స్మాల్ అండ్ మీడియం. మీరు అది ఎలా తెలుస్తుంది అంటే మీ ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ సైజ్ ని బట్టి, మీ టర్న్ ఓవర్ ని బట్టి, మీరు ఒక మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరింగ్ సెక్టర్ ఎంటర్ప్రైజ్ అయితే, సో మీరు ఒక మైక్రో ఎంటర్ప్రైజ్ అవ్వాలి అంటే మీ ప్లాంట్ అండ్ మిషనరీలో ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ లెస్ దెన్ 1 crore అయి ఉండాలి, టర్న్ ఓవర్ లెస్ దెన్ 5 crores అయి ఉండాలి. అలాగే ఒక స్మాల్ ఎంటర్ప్రైజ్ అని మిమ్మల్ని క్లాసిఫై చేయాలి అంటే మీ ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ ప్లాంట్ అండ్ మిషనరీలో 10 కోట్ల కన్నా తక్కువ ఉండాలి, టర్న్ ఓవర్ 50 కోట్ల కన్నా తక్కువ ఉండాలి. అది ఒక మీడియం కేటగిరీ అయితే ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ అనేది 50 crores లోపల, టర్న్ ఓవర్ 250 crores లోపల అయి ఉండాలి. దీన్ని బట్టి ఆ పరిశ్రమకి ఎలాంటి స్కీమ్స్ వర్తిస్తాయి, ఎలాంటి బెనిఫిట్స్ దొరుకుతాయి అనేది నిర్ధారించబడుతుంది. సో ఇంకా మీరు దీని గురించి తెలుసుకోవాలి అనుకుంటే ఈ రోజు సెషన్ లో సార్ మనకి గోపాల్ కృష్ణరాజ్ సార్ ఇన్ డీటెయిల్ చెప్తారు, ఎట్లాంటి ఫెసిలిటీస్, స్కీమ్స్ స్టేట్ గవర్నమెంట్ కానీ సెంట్రల్ గవర్నమెంట్ కానీ ఆంటర్ప్రినర్స్ కి ఇచ్చింది, దేని ద్వారా అయితే మీరు మీ బిజినెస్ ని బాగా ఇంకా ఎక్స్పాండ్ చేయొచ్చు అండ్ దేశ అభివృద్ధికి తోడ్పడొచ్చు. బేసిక్ గా MSMEs గురించి చెప్పాలంటే ఈ రోజు ఇండియాలో సుమారు 6.3 crore MSMEs ఉన్నాయి ఒక స్టాటిస్టిక్స్ ప్రకారం. అలానే కానీ దీంట్లో అన్ఫార్చునేట్ థింగ్ ఏంటంటే ఓన్లీ ఒక 30 lakh MSMEs ఉద్యమ్ రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ పోర్టల్లో రిజిస్టర్ అయి ఉన్నాయి. అంటే ఈవెన్ దో ఇన్ని MSME ఎంటర్ప్రైజెస్ ఉన్నా కూడా అవి రిజిస్టర్ చేసుకోలేకపోతున్నాయి, ఇగ్నోరెన్స్ వల్ల కానీ లేదా వాళ్ళ దగ్గర సరిపడే కన్సల్టెంట్ లేకపోవడం వల్ల, ఒక చార్ట్ అకౌంటెంట్ కానీ వాళ్ళని ఎవరైనా గైడ్ చేసే వాళ్ళు లేకుండా దానివల్ల. అలా ఆ 30 లక్షల ఎంఎస్ఎంఈస్ ఏవైతే రిజిస్టర్ అయి ఉన్నాయో దాంట్లో 93% వచ్చి మైక్రో కేటగిరీవి. అంటే సుమారు 28 lakhs ఎంటర్ప్రైజెస్ మైక్రో కేటగిరీవి. స్మాల్ కేటగిరీ వచ్చి 6% ఉన్నాయి. అండ్ మీడియం కేటగిరీ 1% ఉన్నాయి. అంటే ఎంత స్కోప్ ఉంది మైక్రో నుంచి మా స్మాల్ కి మీడియం కి గ్రో అవడానికి ఇండియాలో చాలా స్కోప్ ఉంది. మెయిన్ ఈ ఎంఎస్ఎంఈ సెక్టర్ గురించి ఎందుకు తెలుసుకోవాలనుకుంటున్నాం అంటే ఇది చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ అయిన సెక్టర్. మీరు ఈ రోజు చేరిన వాటిల్లో చాలా మంది ఈ సెక్టర్ కి సంబంధించిన వాళ్ళే. మీరు ఇండియా ఒక జీడిపి గ్రాస్ డొమెస్టిక్ ప్రోడక్ట్ కి 29% తోడ్పడుతున్నారు. అంటే మిమ్మల్ని మీరు మీన్స్ అభినందించాలి. మీ వల్ల దేశానికి ఒక ట్యాక్స్ రూపంలో కానీ ప్రొడక్షన్ డిమాండ్ రూపంలో కానీ సప్లై కానీ అన్ని మీ ద్వారా తీరుతుంది రిక్వైర్మెంట్స్. సో ఒక బిజినెస్ మ్యాన్ అనేవాడు మన కంట్రీకి చాలా అవసరమైన వాళ్ళు. ఏ కంట్రీ అయినా బాగుపడాలంటే బిజినెస్ మెన్లు కావాలి. దానివల్లే ఎంప్లాయ్మెంట్ అనేది క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది, సొసైటీలో బ్యాలెన్స్ అనేది ఉంటుంది. అట్లే కాకుండా చాలా మందికి తెలియని విషయాలు ఏంటంటే గవర్నమెంట్ ఒక ఈ కామర్స్ వెబ్సైట్ క్రియేట్ చేసింది, గవర్నమెంట్ ఈ మార్కెట్ ప్లేస్ GEM అని. ఇది గవర్నమెంట్ రన్ చేస్తుంది. దాంట్లో మీలాంటి ఆంటర్ప్రినర్స్ రిజిస్టర్ అయ్యి ఉంటే గవర్నమెంట్ తన ఒక రిక్వైర్మెంట్స్ ని ఎంఎస్ఎంఈ ఎంటర్ప్రైజెస్ నుంచే ప్రొక్యూర్ చేస్తుంది ఈ వెబ్సైట్ లో. అండ్ దీని గురించి దీని ఇంపార్టెన్స్ చెప్పాలంటే దీని మీద ఆల్మోస్ట్ 55,048 crores వర్త్ ఆఫ్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ జరిగాయి ఈ మార్కెట్ ప్లేస్ లో, ఈ ఆన్లైన్ పోర్టల్లో. సో దాన్ని చూసి మీరు రిజిస్టర్ అయ్యి దాంట్లో ఆ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ లో మీరు కూడా పాల్గొనాలని కోరుకుంటున్నాను. అట్లే రీసెంట్ గవర్నమెంట్ పాలసీస్ ఈ సెక్టర్ గురించి ఏమున్నాయంటే బడ్జెట్ ని డబుల్ చేశారు. ఈ 2022 కి ఇచ్చిన బడ్జెట్ లో ఫస్ట్ 7,572 crores అలొకేట్ చేస్తే ఈ సెక్టర్ అభివృద్ధికి దాన్ని 15,700 crores కి పెంచారు. అలాగే కోవిడ్ లాస్ట్ ఇయర్ వచ్చినప్పుడు 3 lakhs వర్త్ ఆఫ్ కొలెటరల్ ఫ్రీ లోన్స్ గవర్నమెంట్ గ్యారంటీ ఇచ్చింది వాటికి. దాన్నే ఈ సంవత్సరం 10,000 crores ఈ బడ్జెట్ లో దానికి అలాట్ చేసి బిజినెస్ మ్యాన్ కి ఇప్పుడు జరిగిన ఈ కోవిడ్ నష్టం వల్ల కూడా హెల్ప్ చేయడానికి ముందుకు వచ్చింది. చాలా మంది నాకు తెలిసిన వాళ్ళు, మా క్లయింట్స్ బయట కూడా అడిషనల్ 20% ఎంఎస్ఎంఈ లోన్ ని లాస్ట్ ఇయర్ అవైల్ చేసుకున్నారు. అండ్ దానివల్ల వాళ్ళ బిజినెస్ ని సర్వైవ్ చేయగలిగారు. దానివల్ల ఫ్లరిష్ కూడా అయ్యారు బాగా. ఈ ఆపర్చునిటీ ఇచ్చిన మా బ్రాంచ్ మెంబర్స్ కి ధన్యవాదాలు తెలుపుకుంటూ సెలవు తీసుకుంటున్నాను.
Thank you, sir. I request CA Lakshmi Prasanna Madam to introduce the chief guest to the gathering.
Good evening. Our chief guest, Sri CA K. Jalapati Garu, Chairman of SRC of ICAI 2021 and 22. He hails from a humble background of family of agriculturists in Kolattur, Salem district. He qualified as chartered accountant in May 2004 and since then practicing at Coimbatore. He has been serving to the Chartered Accountants Professional Fraternity of Coimbatore branch of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India since 2007 in various capacities, and he was the chairman of Coimbatore branch for the year 2012-13. He got elected to the Southern India Regional Council of ICAI for the terms 2016-19 and 2019-22 with highest number of votes in Tamil Nadu. He was instrumental and closely coordinated with the government of Tamil Nadu for signing of Memorandum of Understanding in the year 2018 between ICAI and the government of Tamil Nadu to provide career counseling to students of government schools, which is the first of its kind in India. He is presently the chairman of Southern India Regional Council of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. As a chairman of the Career Counseling Committee of SRC of ICAI, conducting in coordination with ICAI and the government of Tamil Nadu to create awareness about the CA course to the students studying in government and government aided schools covering around 1 lakh students and training over 2,500 teachers. His life is by itself an example for the financially challenged students to aim big and realize the goal to pursue higher levels of education and attain higher levels in life. Passion to profession and mission to serve the society attributes his position to the two-letter word CA. His mantra for everyone and especially for the aspirants to become chartered accountant is hard work and perseverance to achieve the and accomplish in the life. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Now I request CA.K. Jalapathy sir to address the gathering.
Very respected Chairman of Nellore branch, CA Sujit Kumar Jain, Secretary of the branch, CA Arun Kumar, resource person of the day, and my good friend, CA Dr. Gopal Krishna Raju, the former regional council member of SARC, managing committee member of the branch, other members of the profession, representatives from MSME sector, and the public at large. Good evening to all of you. When I am joining this meeting organized by Nellore branch of SARC, I experience a sense of joy and pleasure. Yes, I am associated through this virtual with my colleagues in this profession and with other distinguished invitees and public at large. When I say joy and pleasure, to express my elation, I feel it apt to invoke the words of the German-born resident of Canada, a teacher by profession. Person in always derived from something outside you, whereas joy arises from within. Yes, my happiness to be amongst you all because of the combination of both that I experienced this evening and this juncture. I am therefore extremely thankful to CA Sujit Kumar, Chairman of Nellore branch, and his entire team for inviting me to be the chief guest on this great occasion and share some of my thoughts on MSME. I am extremely happy to note that your Nellore branch has been rendering the exemplary service to the members and students fraternity for the last 15 years. The present team and the immediate predecessors have, in spite of the constraints due to COVID-19, kept the activities of the branch active in the last 2 years. I am therefore pleased to record my appreciation to the members of managing committee. You also have the presence of my good friend Channamastan, Vice Chairman of SARC, and ex-officio member of our branch, and one of the dedicated regional council member to guide you. In the SARC has been conducting seminars across the southern region. It was mostly connected to the functioning of MSME sector on the subject of registration, compliance procedures, and professional opportunities for chartered accountants in MSME sector. But at present, the situation when the country is faced with many challenges in economic front, it is very thoughtful on the part of the branch to have planned a public meeting on MSME with the tagline, survive and revive. It has been acknowledged by everyone that the MSME sector is one of the sectors that has been so badly impacted and taken a very heavy toll due to the pandemic scenario. Yes, it has witnessed a downward trend in terms of productivity and financial viability across the country. The Union Minister has announced concessions and relief to the sector. It has been felt by experts in the field of MSME that the road to recovery for the sector may not be that easy as thought to be, even though the government has taken steps in infused capital and announced the package of relief measures. On the other hand, it is a cause of concern for the sector, particularly when the Reserve Bank of India has very recently expressed the view that with the caution that banks face the prospect of a rise in the non-performing loans, particularly in their small and medium enterprises and the retail portfolios, especially as a regulatory relief is wound down. The MSME sector, as the tagline of this program refers to survive and revive. It's an augment in financial resources, improve skill development training, enhance the infrastructure development, develop a marketing mechanism, and upgrade the technology at the shortest possible time. A big challenge indeed before the entrepreneurs. I feel that is the duty of our members involved in practice in the MSME sector to advise, guide, and handhold them for the better tomorrow. And to be part of the development of MSME sector to fulfill objectives of Make in India. Yes, we are recognized as a partner nation building. In a nutshell, the chartered accountants should contribute for the revival of MSME sector through their incisive and insightful professional service, and thereby make them to be a part of overall growth of the economy. It is this context, this meeting assumes a greater significance as the resource person of the day, my good friend CA Gopal Krishna Raju, touch upon the impact of post-COVID situation and spell out the possible options through which the MSME sector can survive, sustain, and revive their activities to the optimum level. With this, I am here to hear the Speaker Gopal Krishna Raju, who is the wealth of experience and expertise, would make this evening a purposeful time. I also take this opportunity to wish the branch to grow from strength to strength in the service of its members and the students and to other stakeholders. I will take this earliest opportunity to meet you all in person in yet another program of the branch once the full normalcy is restored and the government is to protocols. Let us, until then, strictly observe the protocols of the government. So I wish you all the best for the excellent program. Thank you so much for this great opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir. It is our pleasure to have you as a chief guest to this seminar. Now I request CIO MC Krishna sir to introduce the faculty to us.
Thank you, Arun. It is a great pleasure for me to introduce our today's faculty, Dr. Gopal Krishna Raju Garu. He is a practicing chartered accountant and a registered insolvency professional and a registered valuer from Chennai. Mr. JKR is the tax, assurance and restructuring partner of K. Gopal Rao & Co. Chartered Accountants. GKR hails from a family of chartered accountants. His father, mother, younger brother, wife, all are practicing chartered accountants. GKR served consecutive 3 terms of 9 years from 2010 to 2019 as SIRC council member. GKR has been recently awarded honorary doctorate by governance of GST in government sector by St. Mother Teresa University, Melbourne, Australia. GKR is in the independent director data bank and have qualified with a distinction in the online proficiency self-assessment test conducted by Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. His other qualifications are, he is a qualified valuation exam of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. He is a qualified limited insolvency examination of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. He is an associate member of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. He is an associate member of the Institute of Company Secretary of India. He is a twin postgraduate diploma holder in operational research and in financial management from Pondicherry University. He completed his MPhil in management from Tamil Nadu Open University. He is a qualified information systems auditor from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and a qualified post-qualification course in International Trade Law and World Trade Organization from ICAI. He holds 8 NSC certificates in financial markets from National Stock Exchange of India Limited, Capital Market, Derivatives Market, Security Market, and FIM MBA NSC Debt Market modules, Commodity Market, AMFI Mutual Funds, AMFI Mutual Funds Advisory, and Corporate Governance module. Mr. GKR has authored 2 books, and one of them is Standard Costing and Variance Analysis for Professional Students and First Lesson in Information Technology for CA students, with 2 editions from Snow White Publications, Mumbai. Mr. GKR is a seasoned speaker on information technology, finance and taxation, and a visiting and a guest faculty for numerous institutions, corporates, and B School. GKR is a member of Institute of Directors, Bombay Chartered Accountants Society, and Madras Management Association, and a life member of the Society of Auditors, the Chartered Accountants Study Circle, and an active Rotarian. He has been nominated as a Finance and Taxation Panel member of FICCI Tamil Nadu State Council, and he is a Chairman, Valuation Standard Board, All India Institute of Valuers Foundation. He is a Institute of Valuation, Registered Valuation Foundation. He is nominated as an Academic Board, Department of Commerce, Loyola College, Chennai, Academic of Council member, DJ Vaishnavi College, Chennai, Academic Board, SIBET College, Chennai, Board of Studies, New College, Chennai, Board of Studies, Guru Nanak College, Chennai, Audit Advisory Board, Director General of Audit, Chennai, Executive Committee and Center for Entrepreneurial Development and Anna University, Chennai, Expert Committee on Corporate Allied Law, CSR, Governance and Ethical of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce. He is a passionate writer on technology and taxation in numerous journals and newspapers. He is a columnist in Tamil Daily, The Hindu Tamil, and a weekly Tamil magazine, Nayanam Vikatam and Putia Talaimuri Kalvi. Regulatory appeals, interviewed in numerous TV channels and Tamil FM radio, including DD, Potikade, Jaya TV, News 18, Kaveri News, FM radio. He is a versatile speaker. GCare has addressed more than 500 meetings on GST to various forums, including professional bodies, Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Trade Association in both English and Tamil. With this, I introduce our today's faculty, Dr. Gopal Krishnaraju, to our audience and our members. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request today's faculty, CA Dr. Gopal Krishnaraju, sir, to continue with the session.
Yeah. At the outset, let me thank Nellore branch of SARC of ICAI. Ippudu oka request undi to share my address or to have my address in Telugu. But since I am born and brought up, I am branded as a Chennai person. But I'll try to ensure that to the extent possible, I will mix the words with, so it won't be a pure Telugu deliberation, but it will be a Telugu come English, a mixing of both. So you will feel as though you are witnessing not an old Telugu film, but the latest Hyderabadi film. So like that, it will be there in today's presentation. Now, I'll go one by one. Ippudu MSME is such a important word today. What is it? And from Andhra Pradesh perspective, what are all the benefits available, schemes available from certain project specific or industry specific, so sector specific. So especially I understand that with respect to Nellore belt, certain sectors are specific to Nellore, like jewelry, gold jewelry related business, rice mill. I always have a fancy for Nellore because Nellore rice is very, very popular. So rice mill, aquaculture, and oil tin manufacturing and food processing. So these are all very special to Nellore belt. So I will focus one by one with respect to this. And I must acknowledge at the outset first the chairman of Southern India Regional Council, CAK Jalapati, for his opening remarks to be the special guest today. And also I must appreciate the efforts of Chairman CA Sujit Kumar Jain and Secretary CA Arun Kumar. I also acknowledge the presence of past chairman. I could say some of the past chairmen of Nellore branch who are a very big support for Nellore branch. I have been associated with Nellore branch for quite long years, especially from the time when Nellore used to be a CPE study circle. And today it is a very big branch, vibrant branch with more activities. And especially I could see some of the past chairmen here. And to mention a few, CA VME Subbarao. So we used to call him as Email Subbarao because that is the kind of dedication at which he will be updating the professional updates. So thank you very much, all the entire team of Nellore branch, for giving this wonderful opportunity today. I will share the screen. Let me take one by one and I'll take you through. The first thing what I want to share here is, this is the latest yes. So I just want to share with you one very interesting, minus the political pictures what you will be seeing. I will take you to a very important document. There are innumerable documents I'll be discussing. The first one is the AP Industrial Development Policy document. This is 2023. This policy document is a very important document, and I'll start from here. And slowly I will go into the various facets of एक minute. Yeah. Slowly I will take you to various facets of this particular policy. So the first point I want to share with all of you is the definition of micro, small and medium enterprises. One thing all of you must be very clear about with MSME is, don't be bothered about the investment in plant and machinery. So you just worry only about one thing: turnover below 250 crores. Everything is covered under this. So if your turnover is below 250 crore, I will be either a micro, small and medium. Of course, based on turnover, it is going like a staircase. They have classified into micro company, medium company, and small company and medium company. And one thing I want to appreciate here, Andhra Pradesh is the first state who has come out with a definition of not only MSM, micro, small and medium enterprise, but also they have brought out a definition for large enterprise and mega enterprise. Large industrial project and mega industrial project. So anything about 250 crores is large. And mega, they have mentioned it very clearly that 2000 plus people, if they are employing in one industry, then it becomes mega. So very interestingly, they have brought this new nomenclature. Okay, so I'll just share with you those nomenclatures here. Can please focus your kind attention. Yeah, so this is MS and large and mega. So the large is if you cross the 250 crore mark, and 250 crore is very easy to remember. Micro, small and medium, it will jump in multiples of, I repeat, it will jump in multiples of, I'll try to include wherever possible. Good. Ipudu micro, small and medium enterprises lo, the way in which they have classified it, they have included a definition. And that definition is you have to satisfy both investment criteria and turnover criteria. So I will call it as IT. IT means information technology. IT means income tax. But here, with respect to MSME, IT means investment and turnover. So your investment, you start with 1 crore, multiply into 10 times, 10 crore, multiply into 5 times, 50 crore. So if your investment is 1 crore and less, it is micro. And if your investment is 10 times of that, 10 crore and less, it is micro small. And again, 5 times of 10 crore is 50 crore. If your investment is lesser than 50 crore, then it is micro, small and medium enterprise. So this is with respect to investment. And investment means investment in plant and machinery. Ipudu oka point Nyapakam you have to keep in mind. what is that you have to keep in mind? That plant and machinery doesn't include land and building. So, ipudu land and building lo 7 crores investment undi, and plant and machine lo 3 crores undi. So 7 plus 3 total ante 10 crores. Ipudu 10 crores will I come under what category? So will I come under a small? No, ipudu you have to discount, you have to leave the land and building investment. Only plant and machinery you have to take 3 crores. If 3 crores is plant and machinery, then I'll come under small. Investment in plant and machinery is small. So above 1 crore. So up to 1 crore in plant and machinery, I am micro. Now why it is so? Based on, for example, for micro and small, there are some benefits. Small and medium, there are some benefits. So that is why first we need to ensure our industry a category lo undi. So category 1 lo undi micro, category 2 lo undi small, category 3 lo undi medium. Now not only in investment, IT, so investment and turnover. So turnover is actually exactly 5 times. So if investment is 1 crore into 5, 5x is 5 crore. So less than that. So ipudu both the condition okasari satisfy cheyala. Okay, both the condition okasari. So if my investment is less than 1 crore in plant and machinery, ipudu machinery lo 80 lakhs investment undi, but turnover 6 koti. So 6 crore is my turnover. So then my turnover has crossed micro category. So I will come under small. Because even though small investment is less than 10 crore, my investment is less than 10 crore only. 80 lakhs investment in plant and machinery. Ipudu turnover 6 koti. So 6 koti means then I'll go to small. So you need to be very clear what category I'm first into. So this is point number 1. So this is a new notification. Ipudu this change has been brought in the last year pandemic, when 26th of June 2020. So this is that particular notification, 26th of June 2020. So ipudu classification undi. Good. Now this is 26th of June notification. Ipudu July 2021. July 2021 lo 2nd July okay, very important amendment in classification they have brought. And what is that important amendment? This is that important amendment. I just want to share it with all of ipudu 2nd July 2021. So today's date is 10th July. So exactly 1 week before, on 2nd July, we got this. This is actually an office memorandum. Now, what is this? So far, as per the definition of 26th June 2020, only the investment in plant and machinery and the turnover, and they have excluded traders. They have excluded traders. Traders will not be eligible for the MSME benefits. Now, one very important point I will share it with you. If you are an MSME, what are the benefits, sir? First thing is Reserve Bank of India. I repeat, Reserve Bank of India. They are classifying. They are actually encouraging with respect to restructuring. I repeat the word restructuring. So to avail the restructuring of the loans, that means till 31st of March 2022. So if you want to avail the restructuring, you should be an MSME. Ipudu nenu trader, I only buy and sell. I don't manufacture anything. But of course, gold jewelers, they will not come under trading. Okay, so jewelers, they actually produce. So there are jewelers who will come under trading. They will only buy and sell. So they will not make. So if they do the making, so then they need to have some investment in machineries and all. So they will definitely be coming under gold jewelry. So the gold jewelers will come under the definition of the micro, small and medium enterprises. Now rice mills, aquaculture, food processing, all of them, they'll come under MSMEs. Okay, as far as the Nellore belt is concerned. Now traders, especially rice traders. So I buy and sell rice. So whether I'll be MSME, no, I'm a wholesale rice merchant. I buy and sell tons and tons of rice every month. But will I come under the definition of MSME? No, I will not come. But after 2nd of July 2021, so I am included in the definition of MSME. Now this is an office memorandum, but it has not been amended, but we have to wait for an amendment. But as of today, registration can be done. I repeat, registration can be done in Udyam portal. So that is why they have brought this as an office memorandum. So still amendment in the law is pending, but anytime the amendment also will come. First, they are allowing to become a MSME. So they are classifying into three. One is wholesale and retail traders. Okay. Now, in wholesale and retail trade, for example, wholesale trade, except motor vehicles and motorcycle, meaning those who are dealing with the motor vehicle, motorcycle buying and selling. So they may not come under. So they will never come. Similarly, retail trade, except for motor vehicles and motorcycles. So they wholesale vehicle buying and selling and retail vehicle buying and selling, they are actually excluded because volume wise they will do more volume. So that is why. And but one thing, please understand that wholesale and retail trade and repair of motor vehicles and motorcycles. That means what? If I am a service center, if I am a two-wheeler service center, I am a four-wheeler service center, I will come under this. And if I am a two-wheeler and a four-wheeler service center, and also I have a spare parts shop. Remember, spare parts shop. So spare parts shop will come under MSME. And I have taken loan from a bank. And this particular second pandemic, I am not able to manage the repayment of term loan or the working capital loan repayment. Okay, whatever stuff. So I can ask for a restructuring. Meaning, even though I have slipped to NPA, the particular RBI notification which came in May, that allow you to actually restructure it during the year till September 30th, 2021. You can ask for a restructuring and the account will be treated as a standard account till 31st of March 2022. So this is a benefit. This is a benefit. So one by one, I'll try to share the benefit if you are an MSME. Okay. So point number one, I was referring to the definition of MSME. Point number two, I was referring to the traders. What traders? Both wholesale as well as retail trade. And I gave an example of this. The third point which I want to share it with all of you is this particular industrial policy. Okay. So,
no.
Can I? This is the industrial policy. Now here I want to share some information, very important information. So please pay your attention. This is actually a 20-page document. I repeat, this is only a 20-page document. And please download this and have a reading. And this particular document is based on a notification given by government of Andhra Pradesh on 10th of August 2020. Government of Andhra Pradesh, they are given in the Industries and Commerce Department orders for 2023. So the entire Andhra Pradesh industrial policy has been given in a 22-page order. Okay. So this 22-page order is only I'm going to discuss in a very simple terms. Okay. Now, A part of it is actually given in a very simple document. This 22 page is available in 20 pages in simple terms. Now here the third point which I want to share it with all of you is this particular document. They say 10 sectors have been identified, trusty areas for the policy period. So for the year 2023, so this is actually, we can call it as a 4-year period or 3-year period. Okay, so it is actually a 4-year period, 20 to 23. Part of it is a pandemic year. Okay, so for this 4-year period, 10 sectors have been identified. So what are those 10 sectors? Food processing. So Nellore belt, I was referring to food processing. Then pharma and biotechnology, textiles, okay, electronics, footwear and leather, toys and furniture, okay, petrochemical, aerospace and defense, automobile and components, machinery, precision equipment, mineral-based industries. So these are all the thrust sector. And already rice mill, aquaculture, and jewelry is a, I will call it as a traditional business in this belt. So trust is given so that these industries, they get the uplift. Okay, and especially those who start their business, let me share it with you. What are all the advantages? Okay, so one by one I'll try to share it with you, those advantages. So let me now go to the next point. Okay, so after the 10 sectors, let me start with the most important one. We understood who is a micro and small. So if you are a micro and small enterprise, what is your criteria? Your turnover will be lesser than 50 crores, okay, or less than 5 crores. And investment is less than 1 crore or less than 10 crore. Then you have these 3 benefits. So what is it? Reimbursement of 100% stamp duty and transfer duty paid by the industry on purchase of land meant for industrial use, provided they have given certain zones. I'll share it with you some of the areas. So 100% stamp duty will be reimbursed, and reimbursement of 100% stamp duty for lease of land, shed, building, mortgages and hypothecations. So one is if it is bought, 100% of the stamp duty. So technically no stamp duty. So whether you buy the property or you take the property on lease and that is registered. So that means to that extent, the investment is actually a savings. Okay, good. Now, third, government of Andhra Pradesh is committed in supplying uninterrupted 24/7 quality power to all industries operating in the state. This is a promise. This is a promise or a commitment from government of Andhra Pradesh. And I just want to share it with you. Like Andhra Pradesh government, Tamil Nadu government, both AP government and TN government, I must tell you that both are actually coastal. They have maximum coastal areas. Tamil Nadu also has maximum coastal area. AP also has maximum coastal area. So both these states, they have the facility of generating power, generation of power, not only for the requirement of the state, but also they can generate a minimum 2 times to 3 times of the state's requirement. So that means there are surplus power. There is surplus power. So that is why government of Andhra Pradesh is able to give a promise. Okay, it is committed. It is a promise only. Okay, the first two is a reimbursement. And I'm also getting one more point from our past chairman, that export of goods or services or both shall be excluded while calculating the turnover of any enterprise, whether micro, small and medium enterprise, for the purpose of classification. Naturally. And like I said, with respect to exclusion of land and building for plant and machinery, as far as turnover is concerned, the export will be excluded, because ultimately the thrust is given for the particular, for the Indian transaction. Good. So this is another point which I has mentioned. So that is with respect to the third point. Now, the fourth point, what I mentioned is the incentive for MSE, micro, small and medium enterprise. The one is reimbursement. Now, apart from this, there are so many other benefits are there. One by one, I'll take you through. Okay. Now, look at the medium enterprise. Now, you have only mentioned about micro and small, 100% the incentive for property taxes. I mean, property stamp duty is reimbursed. How about for medium enterprise? Of course, large and mega, I don't want to discuss. It's only for very big industries. Now, here, the government of Andhra Pradesh is committed to supplying quality power. So, this point is there for both micro, small, and medium. And look at this 100% reimbursement of net SGST accrued to the state for 5 years, or 100% fixed capital investment, whichever is lower. So this is one place where there will be a necessity for a chartered accountant certification. So what is the total SGST, okay, accrued to the state for 5 years from your business, or 100% of the fixed capital investment? That means if your investment in plant and machinery, okay, you are in medium category, that means less than 50 crore. This is very important point. Okay. So this is not applicable for micro and small, only for medium. That means my investment is about 10 crore and less than 50 crore in plant and machinery. Machinery, for example, my total machinery is 28.75 crores. So this 28.75 crores will be reimbursed, or the total state SGST, that is called APGST, that has been, that means you have to do turnover and you have to collect the taxes, and the taxes will be both the CGST and SGST. And maybe you can take, if your investment is 28 crore, so let us assume that 28 crore GST if you are paying, so 28 plus CGST will be 28, so it will be 56. So 56 crore is your GST, and that means if at a rate of a 12% product or 18% product, or we can even take an average rate, multi products you are dealing with, or it's an 18% rate. So if that is the thing, your turnover should be almost 400 crores for total of this 5 years. Maybe on an average, your turnover should be 70 or 80 crores, and you should be a GST compliant entity, enterprise. Then this is actually SGST accrued, not the net of ITC. All these queries I will actually answer. So what is your liability? Because ultimately you are passing on. You are passing on to that means you should not do a B2B business. You should actually be a B2C. So if you are doing a B2C, that means the consumer is in Andhra Pradesh, and state government gets that particular taxes. So it is only a you can even pay your taxes through what do you call it as ITC also. Okay. So ultimately it goes only to your Andhra Pradesh government. So it should be a B2C. Then only the ultimate beneficiary will be Andhra Pradesh government. So then that 100% or the GST, whichever is lower, okay, will be actually reimbursed. Technically, that means you get back your investment. So you invest money, you do the turnover, you collect the taxes, you pay, and you are eligible for the capital reimbursement. So it's like actually every 5 years, that 5th year, you want to replace your machinery, you can do it. So that means you are guaranteed in your business for 5 years, plus maybe another 5 years you are guaranteed in your business. So to that extent, this is giving you a booster. So this is your next point I want to share. This is the incentive for your medium enterprise. So your medium enterprise with respect to GST reimbursement or 100% of your fixed capital investment. Okay. So this is very interesting. And I just want to share it with you some more. The government of Andhra Pradesh places significant thrust on adoption of sustainable green measures. So meaning you should not pollute the environment. Okay. So in the name of business, you should ensure that you take care of your surroundings, keep it clean, keep it green. You don't pollute the nearby places. You don't dump it in open pits. So government of Andhra Pradesh places significant thrust on adoption of sustainable green across industries in the state. So the common facilities like wastewater treatment, CEMS, so that is called Common Emission Monitoring System, would be set up in new Andhra Pradesh, the Investment Center Industrial Park. Okay, so APISC Industrial Park. So this is actually to boost the industry to set up their industry in the respective industrial park. Okay, this is common facility. So that means you need not invest in wastewater treatment. You need not invest in common emission monitoring system. So there will be a facility which will be applicable, which will be available for the entire industries in the APIIC industrial parks. Okay, so that is another thing. Now, I just want to share it with you, the sixth point of discussion, especially women entrepreneurs. If I just want to share our chairman, Mr. Sujit Kumar Jain, he was giving the statistics. So what statistics he was giving? That 6 crore MSMEs are there and 5% of them only are registered. So that means only 30 lakhs are registered. And shall I tell you how many of them are women entrepreneurs? Okay, you will be surprised. Okay, you will be surprised that there is out of this 30 lakhs Udyam registered portal, you will be surprised that women entrepreneurs, those who are women entrepreneurs, they not only cross 8%. So that means out of 30, 8% is hardly 2.4. So this is one thing which is very serious. Okay, very serious. And to encourage women entrepreneurs in Andhra Pradesh. But of course, one statistics is in Andhra Pradesh, the percentage of women entrepreneurship is a little higher compared to all other states. Okay, so but that is not sufficient. We need at least 20% of the entrepreneurs should be women entrepreneur minimum. Okay, it should be minimum. And it should be even more than that. Okay, we should at least strive the number to be equal to 40 to 50%. So why? That is why these incentives are given. Please look at this. Special packages for women entrepreneurs. So what are those special packages? So number one, and provided they belong to the scheduled caste or scheduled tribe, backward classes or minority communities. So this is a very important thrust. So if from these communities, women entrepreneurs are coming forward. Okay, so they can set up a 10 lakh unit, 20 lakh unit, 30 lakh unit. Okay, now for the 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 30 lakh unit, I'll come to the various schemes. So how funding can be given, especially aquaculture. I want to start a new aquaculture unit. Total investment is 10 lakhs. So land I will take on lease, and anyhow lease land I'm getting a reimbursement. Okay, that stamp duty what I pay. Now I need funds to do operation. What funds? I'll come for the schemes. One by one I'll come. So now here, the provisions in the package are applicable to SC, ST, BC and minority communities who establish manufacturing unit as sole proprietor. Okay, individual or invariably having 100% share in partnership or private limited companies. Now, what do you mean by 100%? Two partners are there in a partnership firm, both are women. That means 100%. So if a private limited company, there are 2 directors and 2 shareholders, and both the shareholders should be women. Oh, that is called 100%. And provide employment to a minimum of 10 people. These are the conditions. So then, like the previous 100% reimbursement of stamp duty and transfer duty paid on purchase of land meant for industrial use, 100% reimbursement of stamp duty for leasing purpose, 50% rebate in land cost. So that means if you buy the land for lease the land for say 10 lakhs and you pay stamp duty 1 lakh. 1 lakh is reimbursed. On 10 lakhs, 50% is rebate in land cost up to 20 lakhs. So that means land cost is 10 lakhs, 5 lakhs is given as a rebate. So that means it is funded by government of Andhra Pradesh. So with the investment of 5 lakhs, you can actually start. Okay, in industrial estate or parks for the micro small enterprise. MSE means micro small enterprises. 25% land conversion charges for industrial use limited to 10 lakhs for micro small enterprises. Fixed power cost reimbursement of 1.25 per unit for 5 years. See, today the power cost, if you power cost, so ఇప్పుడు ఈ పాయింట్స్ చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ పాయింట్స్ ఉంది. ఫస్ట్ పాయింట్, ఇప్పుడు 100% ఆఫ్ స్టాంప్ డ్యూటీ రీయింబర్స్మెంట్ ఉంది. అండ్ దిస్ ఇస్ ఇప్పుడు ఈ పాయింట్ కామన్ పాయింట్ ఉంది ఎక్కడ, both for the micro small enterprises as well as for medium enterprises, and ఇప్పుడు women entrepreneurs also same common points undi, that 100% reimbursement of stamp duty and for leasing, and tarvata 50% rebate in land. So that means your cost is only with respect to 50% of land cost, not more than that. So and fixed power cost, and for example today when you buy a ఇప్పుడు పవర్ కాస్ట్ చాలా కాస్ట్లీగా, వెదర్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఫ్రమ్ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశం ఆర్ తమిళనాడు ఆర్ మహారాష్ట్ర, సో ఆర్ కర్ణాటక, అండ్ ఐ విల్ సే ఓన్లీ ఇన్ కేరళ the power cost is comparatively a lesser cost comparatively, okay, provided you generate, because a lot of resources are there in Kerala. So but here power cost will be a little costlier. If you generate, it will be costlier. If you get the power from EB, it will be per unit will be not less than, when I say per unit means 1 kilowatt hour. 1 kilowatt hour will be 7 rupees, 8 rupees, 8.5 like that. So out of that 1 rupee 25 paisa they reimburse. So that means it will be close to minimum 15 to 20% of your power cost is reimbursed. So the product which you manufacture, okay, especially if it is a rice mill, if it is aquaculture based, okay, of course aquaculture you may not need that much of power except for certain activities. You have to actually pay attention, especially for rice mill, okay, food processing. So these are the places where you may have to shell out more of the power cost. Okay, so tarvata I'll take you to one more point here. Yeah, so this is one more thing. 35% investment subsidy undi for on fixed capital investment of 50 lakhs for micro small and medium, for micro small enterprise, not medium. Okay, please understand this, only micro small enterprises, medium enterprises kaadu. Okay, so only for micro small enterprises 50% investment subsidy on fixed capital investment limited to 50 lakhs. So let us take an example. So 40 lakhs ipudu plant and machinery lo investment undi, and here land lo 50% rebate undi. So that means if land is 10 lakhs, only 5 lakhs you have to invest. Ipudu plant and machinery lo 40 lakhs investment. So 10 lakhs in land, 40 lakhs in machinery, so total 50 lakhs. Out of 50 lakhs, land 5 lakhs is rebate. Balance 40 lakhs machinery lo, 40 lakhs lo 35% you get capital subsidy. So 14 lakhs you get. Okay, so the subsidy will be released only after 3 years of continuous operation with at least 80% efficiency in all parameters, that is employment and production. So these are some of the aspects which can actually support you to go for a bank loan also. So I will, after this I'll take you to some of the bank sites, so where you can get the respective bank loans. Okay, and if you go for a bank loan, so that means you invest 50 lakhs. So land anyhow they are not going to give you a loan, but for the plant and machinery they'll give you term loan. And if the term loan cost you say 8% or 9%. Okay, 9% is the rate of interest. Let us, or 10%, let us take. Out of 10%, there will be an interest subvention. That means a discount on interest. That is how much? 3%. On term loan taken on fixed capital investment for a period of 5 years on the data commencement of commercial production for MSEs. Okay. And of course, if you avail subsidy, that subsidy actually has to, they will actually ensure that if you are eligible for a subsidy, to the extent of the subsidy, term loan will not be given. So that is also one of the criteria. Okay. So you have to actually work out accordingly. You have to actually work out accordingly. So 35% investment subsidy, that means 65% you can go for loan. Okay, that you can do. On that 3% you are getting interest subsidy. Reimbursement of 100% net to SGST of 5 years from the data commencement or up to 100% of the fixed capital invest, whichever is earlier. Ipudu medium industries law, 100% reimbursement of the SGST accrued or 100% of the fixed capital investment, whichever is low. Same point repeat aipundi ikkada also. So for micro small enterprises, especially women entrepreneurs, so that is most important. See, women entrepreneur, how much of benefits? Okay, so 100% net to SGST and reimbursement of 70% net to SGST from the date of commencement of commercial production or up to realization 100% of fixed capital, whichever is a reimbursement of 50% to large enterprises. So this is micro small, they give 100%. To medium, they give 75%. Large enterprise, they give 50%. So mostly women entrepreneurs, maybe if they start their activity from a very small level, they are eligible for 100% on the net SGST. So it is something phenomenal. I'll tell you, very phenomenal planning they have done. And this is something a very big booster. Very big booster. So this is with respect to women entrepreneurs. There are some more aspects also I want to cover that please look at this common initiatives. This is, I will say, a very, very important initiative. That is 16.2% of plots, 16.2% of plots for SC entrepreneurs, scheduled caste entrepreneurs, and 6% of plot for scheduled tribe entrepreneurs in industrial park are reserved. So that means 16 plus 6 is 22. So out of 100 minus 22, that means balance 78% is only available for others, including minority community and backward community. Okay, women entrepreneurs who belong to that, and also others. So this is actually a very important, I will say, an incentive. Okay, so reservation will be reserved and allotment will be done as per APIAC allotment guidelines. So a dedicated silver hand-holding special category entrepreneurs for all business issues, consultations will be constituted. So therefore, before you go and approach APIAC and get the application form, please go to your nearest chartered accountant. Ipudu local lo, Nellore lo, minimum 250 chartered accountants are there. So try to get a consultation from any one of the chartered accountant nearby, so that you will have an idea. So before you will have a clarity before you actually go for the funding. So that is with respect to this. Tarvata, I want to take you to one more important aspect. So this is land allotment, all this stuff I already discussed. Now, I want to take you to the various schemes, okay, the various schemes that is available. So especially maybe with the available time, I want to share with you some of the interesting schemes. Like if you are a rice mill, you are an industry who are in milling industry, okay, rice milling, okay. So what are the facilities available? What are all the schemes available in banks? Okay. Similarly, aquaculture. So what are all the schemes available? Now, I just want to share with you. This is one thing I want to share with you. Very, very important document. This is a document which it is called Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. Pradhan Mantri Matsya means okay, it is the first avatar of Lord Vishnu. Okay, So Matsyavata. So Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. So in this, I'll take you to para number 5. This is actually a 237-page document. I'll give you the link also. You can go and download it. In this, the 5th paragraph, there's a funding. I'll share with you what are all the various funding available and what are all the conditions you have to satisfy. That is with respect to aquaculture. Okay, with respect to aquaculture. Okay, so let me take you one by one. So that is one. I'll also share with you with respect to yeah. So this is another thing I want to share. So these are all the banks you can approach, either State Bank or Canara Bank or Punjab National Bank or Andhra Banks. Now it is Union Bank of India, Central Bank, Bank of Baroda, UCO Bank, Bank of India. You can approach. So for what? Okay. So let me now take you to the various sector specific benefits. Okay, maybe time may not be sufficient, but I want to give the substance, I want to give the content, so that if it is clear to you, then you can take it forward. Okay, so let me first take you to the eligible criteria. So this is with respect to rice mill. Okay, so you want loan for your rice mill. So the eligibility criteria for the rice mill scheme. Okay, the unit need to maintain the activity of rice milling and also need to show profitability. That means existing unit. Okay, if it is a new unit, I'll take you to another scheme. Yeah, 15 to 25% of margin amount of money is required to apply for term loan for machineries, and 15 to 40% margin money necessary to apply for working capital facility. So that means say we'll take the margin money as 25%. So 75% will be funded for term loan, and 40% margin is for maximum margin is for working capital. 60% will be funded. So this is based on your profitability, based on your turnover. Maybe the percentage can come down based on your activity. Okay. Now, newly established rice mill are also eligible to avail this as a financing under the scheme, so that they are also eligible. It's not that only the existing schemes. So existing schemes means your margin will come down based on your activity. If it is a new rice mill, you have to go by the margin cannot come down because activity still not been established. Now, the loan amount can be sanctioned for a working capital, both fund-based or non-fund-based, or term loan. The amount of loan will depend upon the capability of the applicant. So that means most importantly, the promoters or the individual or the sole proprietor or the partner of the rice mill. So what is their individual net worth? Okay, so that is most important, or whomsoever they will be giving collateral, and anybody, if third party is a collateral, they should be part of the unit. So they will not be taken as a third party collateral. So there is no extra percentage of the amount of loan that can be sanctioned under the scheme for establishing or developing a rice mill. So it is only with respect to working capital and the term loan, that is with respect to machinery. So that means for land and the fundamental architecture, the investment has to be brought by the respective investor only. And there are different interest rates for rice mill plus loan. So that will be the normal bank rate, which is linked to the base rate. Now, term loan period will be 5 to 7 years, excluding the moratorium period of 1 year. Okay, 12 months. So that means total years will be 6 years or 8 years. Okay. Working capital facility will have a 12-month period for repayment. More so for a rice mill, the working capital will be maybe 3 months, or maximum it can be 6 months, not more than that, because the cycle of that every bogum, we call it as bogum, no? So in so that cycle of that, your every 3 months or 6 months you harvest it. So that is why your recycle period maximum can go up to 12 months. Okay, that is only a maximum. So And the collateral is not required if the funding is up to 10 lakhs, please, because that is actually guaranteed by CGT MSE scheme. So central government trust and medium small industries, okay, micro small industries scheme. So it is actually a guaranteed central government guarantee scheme. So capital guarantee trust and for the micro and small enterprises without any requirement of collateral. So up to 10 lakhs loan, maybe if you are a very small unit, okay, you can start with no collateral. So if the loan amount, because that is actually been guaranteed by CGT MSE scheme, okay. So if the loan amount is over 10 lakhs, then security has to be brought by submitting a equitable mortgage of property or tangible security belonging to the borrower or guarantor. Now, a third party guarantee can be taken in certain circumstances. So when you establish the necessity of that third party guarantor, normally third party guarantor, if it is a related party, will be taken. If it is an unrelated party, they will actually hesitate to actually take a guarantor. So all these stuff is all normal thing. So these are some of the banks which I mentioned, and there are subsidies available for rice mill. So apart from, you can even go by this one, AP Industrial Development Policy subsidy. So this is a general information. You can go by the AP ID policy if you come under that particular criteria. Anyhow, now you have the subsidy of capital investment subsidy of 100% or with respect to your CGST, but with respect to rice mill, GST may not be there. So therefore, because if it is unbranded, because all rice mills, they'll only sell unbranded only. So the moment you put brand, then only GST will come. So if GST is there, then it is very difficult to compete with the market. So always rice mill, they will only sell rice with unbranded. And if it is unbranded rice, they may not be eligible for that capital subsidy reimbursement by the APID policy. So this is a place where they need to actually take a call. No, I will go by a branding. So that means starting from the rice mill till the end, they need to have a branding. So then the GST will be part of it, and whatever GST they collect and pay, they will be eligible for that particular APID policy. So these are all the places where you need to discuss with your chartered accountant, and chartered accountants also have to actually design the planning in such a way that suggest the ideal way. Okay, you go on this route, you are not eligible for the capital subsidy. Then what will be your total cost of funding? How is it? Because definitely when there is a reimbursement or capital investment, the business actually has a thrust. It actually has a boost. So in the long run, the kind of the catalyst, that particular capital subsidy that will give to the company will be phenomenal. Okay, good. So that is with respect to this. Yeah, I will share all this link to you. You can go through this particular link and download all this stuff. Maybe I'll share this link here in, sorry, where is it? Yeah, I'll share the link in the chat itself. Okay, good. So this is one link, and this is the link with respect to the AP industrial policy. Okay, sorry for that. This is the link for the AP industrial policy, and this is the link for yeah. Sorry for that. So where am I? One minute. So this is the link for yeah, this is the link for your rice mill funding. Now let me take you to another important area. Yeah, aquaculture. Yeah. Now here I'll take you to yes. So this is Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. Yeah. So this is a link for that. I'm sorry. I think not this one. This is not the link. Sorry for that. I'll just give the link here. This is the link. Sorry. So this is that PMMSY. Sorry for that. Yeah. So nfdb.gov.in/PMMSY. Okay. So this is that particular. Yeah. Now let me take you to this. And after that, maybe we'll have some few queries and I'll try to answer those queries. Now here, this is actually a 237-page document. So Aram say you can go through this, but I will only take to a very, very important para alone. That para alone I will discuss. Okay. So especially para number 5. I just want to discuss para number 5. The funding pattern. Okay. Now you want to establish an aquaculture unit, or you already have an aquaculture unit, you want some support. So first of all, whether aquaculture will come under the definition of micro, small and medium enterprises, yes, it will come. So based on your investment in plant and machinery, but the land will not be included. So all the other equipments, because after you take the what do you call it as the live thing, you need to actually do some processing, you need to have some freezing unit, all this stuff, you need to have vehicles. Okay, so all this. So funding pattern, of course you will have some setup. Okay, aquaculture setup. The central sector scheme, the entire project cost will be borne by the central government. This is central sector scheme. So this is actually coming under the Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairy. Okay, so Government of India. So under central government scheme, this is a central government scheme. Apart from the state government schemes are also there. And so this is your central sector scheme. And centrally sponsored scheme, that means it will be administered by the state government. Okay. So the central sector scheme, this entire project will be borne by central government. 100% for the central funding. Where direct beneficiary, that is individual or group activities, are undertaken by the entities of central government, including National Fishery Development Board. Central assistance will be up to 40% of the unit or project cost for general category and 60% for SC, ST or women category. Okay. So now let me go to the non-beneficiary oriented subcomponents, activities under centrally sponsored scheme to be implemented by the states. Okay. So by the Andhra Pradesh government, the entire project cost will be shared between center and state as detailed below. So it is actually a centrally sponsored. That means they are also taking care of one portion and state government also will be supporting. So your Andhra Pradesh will come here. 60% central share and 40% will be state share. And coming to for the beneficiary oriented or individual or group activities, subcomponents activities under the centrally sponsored scheme to be implemented by state government, the government financial assistance for both center and state will be limited to 40% of the project cost for general category and 60% for the SC, ST and women entrepreneurs. The government financial assistance will be in turn be shared by center and state, and AP will come under this 60-40. Okay. Now let me explain this with one example. If the project cost is 1 lakh The government assistance, both central and state combined, will be 40,000 for general category and 60,000 for the exclusive category of scheduled caste tribe women. The remaining amount would be the beneficiary share. So that means the investor, the owner, they have to bring it. Okay. So further, the aforesaid government assistance would be shared between the central and state of 90, that is 60 and 40 for Andhra Pradesh. Okay. So that is why beneficiary share here means the owner, they have to bring it. Okay. So that is what it is. So it is 60,000 by the SC/ST are women entrepreneurs. If there are women entrepreneurs, say the investment is, let us take 50 lakhs. Okay. So if it is 50 lakhs, 60% they are women entrepreneurs, mean 30 lakhs will be funded by central and state. Then the remaining 40% of 50 lakhs. So that means 20 lakhs, the own contribution has to be brought. So that is what this particular point is. And apart from that, there are so many schemes. Okay. I will just share with you some interesting schemes here. This is one thing which I just want to share it with you, that so many schemes are there with respect to, this is NFDB. NFDB schemes, this is National Finance. NFDB is actually National Fisheries Development Board. Okay. So they come under, they come out with a lot of individual schemes. Like for example, if you want to construct the pond and tank for the existing species, 3 lakh per hectare for plain areas, and 20% subsidies for farmers or entrepreneurs with the ceiling of 0.6 lakhs. That means 60,000 per hectare, and 25% subsidy to the special categories, that is SC and ST, with a ceiling of 75,000 per hectare. So this is with respect to northeastern region, hilly region. So each and every what do you call it as part of your investment, there are incentives. Okay. Now, if you avail these incentives, that this is, for example, if you go by your central scheme, so you contribute 40% and you get the support 60% from government. So that is one type of scheme. Another one, you directly go to National Fisheries Development Board, you give your project by project, there they will give the funding, and the remaining you have to contribute. So it is like step-by-step funding. So there either you can go for 100% funding, or here you can go for it. So you need to actually choose. So ultimately you get support, you get financial support. So this is called as inland fisheries scheme. So they call it as Blue Revolution. Okay. For renovation of existing pond and tank, and establishment of freshwater seed hatchery. Okay, because that unit is very interesting. So seed should be there, then only you will go for then you have to actually culture it. So without having the prawn seeds, you cannot go for what do you call it as culture. Okay, so the pond is where the culture happens. For culture, you need the basic seed. So the establishment of fish seed hatchery. So 12 lakh per unit for plain areas are given. Okay. So 20% back-ended bank-linked subsidy to entrepreneurs or farmers with a ceiling of 2.4 lakh per unit. Okay. And renovation of fish seed hatchery, that also based on various category, they are giving this support. And for trout farming also they are giving support, and trout seed hatchery also they are giving support. So I am sure I don't want to go into the business part of it to explain all this stuff. I'll just share with you that these facilities are available, and I've given you the link here. And this schemes will be updated year by year. For example, from 2015, 16, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 21, 22, every year, the central government will allocate a fund with respect to this. Every year, you will see in the budget, okay, for fisheries, we are allocating. So that fund will come through this National Fisheries Development Board, and then the funding is actually given to across the country. So this is very, very, I'll just give the link also to you here. Okay. So all these are and ornamental fisheries. So this is actually for not for this is also for sale, but not for human consumption. Okay, this is only for your fish tank for that beautiful display in your veranda or in your living spaces. So for that also, that ornamental fish culture also, they give the support, but only the funding will be a little less. If it is a backyard hatchery, medium scale unit, etc. Reservoir fisheries development. Okay, so there also they give. So reservoirs means it is not a small area; it is a very big area. Okay, so there it is not necessary that it is a man-made pond. So it is actually a natural pond, sir, but which is converted into a fish culture reservoir. Okay, so all these, so that means to that extent, the government is very keen that your natural resources has to be used maximum to actually explore the benefit out of it. Okay, so maybe I wish to share more points here, but due to paucity of time, and I'm sure I would have already made the point very clear to all of you that so much of benefit is available from the government side, and maybe I have only given before you some highlights, 1-2 highlights only I have given, and you have to actually take it forward with the help of your professional fraternity. You have to consult your local chartered accountant who will actually help you a lot to take it forward. So with this brief and encouragement given by Nellore chapter, I thank Nellore branch of SARC of ICAI for this wonderful opportunity. And I will now invite maybe few queries, 2 or 3 queries I'll invite, and whatever best possible, I'll try to give leads so that from there you can take it forward. Thank you very much. Over to the executive team. I think few of them have raised hands to ask questions. Maybe we can ask them to.
పార్టిసిపెంట్స్ మీకు ఎవరికైనా ఏదైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నా ఏదైనా సలహా అడగాలన్నా మీరు మీ మైక్ ని అన్మ్యూట్ చేసి అడగొచ్చు.
సార్ ఇప్పుడు మీడియం సెక్టర్ యూనిట్స్ కి ఏపీఐసి కింద క్యాపిటల్ ఏదైతే ఎక్స్పెండిచర్ ఉందో దాన్ని రీఇంబర్స్ చేస్తారని చెప్పి ఇచ్చినారు. దానిలో ఎక్కడ అప్పర్ క్యాప్ అనేది మెన్షన్ చేయలేదు. సో సపోజ్ ప్లాంటర్ మిషన్ లో నేను 30 crores గా ఇన్వెస్ట్ చేస్తే ఫుల్ ఎక్స్టెంట్ ఐ కెన్ క్లెయిమ్ ఫర్ రీఇంబర్స్మెంట్, నో సార్?
Absolutely. My view is fully you can claim, but the only point is 100% of the APGST. That means that they will go through your GST compliances over a period of past 5 years. What is the monthly APGST you have paid, and what is the cumulative APGST you have actually, that is B2C. So B2C APGST over a period of, so this will be first of all available for those who are into manufacturing product which is actually a taxable product. So if they are into manufacture of product or production of product which is not taxable, then they may not be eligible. For example, aquaculture, you cannot think of it. But for rice mill, you can think of it. Provided rice mill, there are two things here. Even the GST department, they themselves were given a circular also. There are many rice mills. They put the brand, but they don't want to actually collect GST because of the competition in the market. The moment they put a brand, it becomes a taxable product. So if they are interested to actually avail these kinds of benefits, so they need to actually make it a taxable product and let them go ahead with the branded version. So they can put a brand until the end in the market, the brand will be carried. So maybe it will be a little costlier compared to the market prices, but their quality will actually speak. Actually, rice, you have 4, 5 varieties, 10 varieties, and only the quality will speak with respect to the price. So my views, you are eligible, 100% you are eligible.
Sir, Subbarao sir has raised a question. What is the net SGST component? Sir wants to get it explained a little bit more.
My understanding is net GST is what ultimately you pay to you pay either in the form of cash or in the form of ITC. Okay, you have an input tax credit. You actually set off your state tax to your state output tax. So here the net refers to your what the state government is eligible for. So the eligible taxes is what is called net. So my understanding is if your total taxes what you have paid includes B2B, B2C, and maybe others, they will only take B2C. That is called net, my understanding.
Sir, any benefits available to jewelry sector, sir, at least the central government side? AP government policy, we did not see any benefits. At least at the central level, any manufacturing benefits available to jewelry sector?
Yeah, actually, I want to share one more document. I'll show that document also. This is one document I want to share. Is it visible? Oh, sorry, I have not shared it. Sorry. I'll just share. So this is one document. I hope this is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yeah. So here, this is one particular scheme that is available. Maybe I'll give the link here. You can go and there are many schemes here. You can just go there. Either as a individual, you will be eligible for some benefits, or as a cluster also. So generally, in gold jewelry business, small the cluster of they are called as the micro entrepreneurs who manufacture bangles, gold rings. So only one guy will make only bangle, one guy will make only chain, one guy will only make the ring alone. So the entire
Total supply chain is there, sir.
the entire cluster will be eligible. So they only go by they call it as a cluster based support and funding, so that the entire belt will be benefited. So what is so as individual they cannot apply, they have to only apply as a cluster. Okay, so that is the link I've given. I'll just share that link also to all of you.
Hi, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Krishna here. My query is regarding the incentives for the medium sector. The specification or the definition of the medium sector has been given as fixed cost up to 50 crores and turnover below 350 crores. So to avail the benefit of net SGST, you have clarified that the transaction should be B2B.
B2C.
B2C, but usually if you're having a turnover in in the range of 100 to 350 crores, you would generally sell it to a wholesaler or a retailer who would then push it to the customer. Okay, in that case, how is the benefit received by the company who's actually into production?
So that is where it's very interesting. If you are part of a supply chain and you are giving it to another business intermediary, so how the taxes ultimately reaches the government is a question mark. So from your documentation, directly what you have paid can be established. Maybe through the supply chain, maybe you have given it to one B2B vendor, and B2B vendor would have sold it, or that B2B vendor would have sold to another B2B vendor and he would have sold it. So ultimately, it should reach the state government. So maybe you can say you can claim that what you have made a sale to B2B has ultimately been sold to only Andhra Pradesh citizens, those who are actually consumers of Andhra Pradesh. Okay, I should only use the word called consumers. So AP consumers. So that it is very difficult. My view is if I am sitting as the secretary of finance secretary, what is the mechanism I have to establish it? So it is very difficult. My view is you can actually give that from the back end, we need to pull out a lot of information that the person to whom you have given, to what extent he is doing, is he doing an IGST sale? If he is not doing an IGST sale, and all the supply chain from your point later, all are only doing what is called as local sale, then that B2B also I can consider. So I have to go to the back end and I have to establish it. So this is what they use a word called net GST. So it is very difficult, but it is not impossible. So you have to put your claim, and department will take some time to establish that particular claim. Maybe if they are not able to, they may say, no, there are some IGST sale. We are not going to consider this B2B. We will discount it on the direct sale only. We'll give you incentive. So all this stuff will come later. So that is why you need to have a very clear business model to avoid all this, what do you call it as, confusions later. At the time of designing the structuring the business entity, you need to structure in such a way that if you are going to avail these kind of benefits, that entity should only make a local sale, should not do a B2B sale. Maybe if you do a B2B sale, do it through some other entity and don't claim that at all. That is the best thing.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, that link for jewelry is not given. They are asking.
Yes, I agree.
Any other queries?
Or we can request any participant to give their feedback. Or we can request we have some we can request few of our members, senior members, to share their reflections.
Yes, sir.
Sir, one question, sir.
Yes, Arun. Yes, continue.
Yes. Regarding these traders, I think the benefit has been extended only for the priority sector lending. So no other benefits under MSME will not be available for traders.
Yeah, that 10 clusters, 10 thrust areas.
Okay.
I showed you that 10 areas.
Yes, sir.
That is what.
Thanks.
No, I think Arun, you meant about the recent the circular 1 week
Recent
back.
circular, yeah.
Office memorandum. He's asking, sir, that
Oh,
the
with respect to
wholesale
office
the
memorandum.
traders.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes, sir. Traders.
Yeah, what is your question, Mr. Arun?
Sir, it was it said that the retail trade has been included in the MSME only for the limited purpose. That is for the public sector, priority sector lending.
Yeah,
So
correct.
other benefits were not available for traders.
No, that is why I want to share with you one more interesting point also. Immediately after this, hope my screen is shared. Immediately after this notification, on 7th July, Reserve Bank of India also has brought out one notification. This is 7th July notification, Reserve Bank of India, that a new definition of MSME has been brought. Now, why they are bringing this is, so they want to bring the benefit of restructuring even for the traders, the trading community also. So trading community also would have gone for borrowings. And if I am a manufacturing sector, I would have gone for a term loan and a working capital loan. And term loan and working capital loan are eligible for restructuring. But I am a trader, I would have gone for a working capital loan, but I am not eligible for restructuring. I am also affected because the shutters are down for 3-4 months, and I am also not able to cope up with the kind of fixed cost. So I need a breather. I need to bring my business back. I need to revive my business. So I also prefer to go for restructuring. So that is why, please look at this. It has been addressed to all the commercial banks, primary urban cooperative banks, and non-banking finance companies. Why? Because on May 2021, Reserve Bank of India brought the restructuring scheme. In that restructuring scheme, that is the 5th May 2021 restructuring scheme, they have made it very clear that it is applicable only for the MSME registered entities, and they should also have a GST registration. GST registration is not mandatory if they are exempted product. They are dealing with exempted product, but MSME registration is mandatory. So that is why these traders, they will be not eligible for restructuring. So this change will actually give them the additional advantage of going for restructuring for this year. So that is why RBI has brought this. So that is why that office memorandum is, even though amendment are not made, RBI has brought out this particular notification immediately to give effect to such borrowers.
Sir, is it restricted only till March 2022, or until they give a new memorandum, it will be in force?
No, I'm not getting your point. What is
Sir,
it?
this office memorandum, they say this extends the benefits to traders, right? So how long it is in force? Till March 2022, or it will be it will be in force till it is revoked? What is the status quo on this? How long this will be there?
See this office memo. Let me show you that again. Did I show you that office memorandum?
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah, sure.
I'll just take that. Yeah, this is here. You are able to see that. Yeah. So actually, if you take this, the purpose of this is only to make them register in that particular portal. That is the purpose of this. So still we need an amendment in the act. And the Udyam registration is allowed for the above 3 crore, and the enterprise who already have a UAM are now allowed to migrate to Udyam registration, and they have not mentioned anything about
ये फोटो नहीं आ रही इसकी यार.
they have not mentioned anything about the validity of this office memorandum. So my view is this has a limited applicability with respect to registration in the Udyam portal. Now, once they are registered, without having a legal standing, they are registered. Now they need to do that amendment. That will take some time, but I am allowing them to do the registration. Why? Because many of them are suffering after borrowing from banks. So this is one step towards that. So it is not that they will withdraw all this. They are going to bring an amendment, but suitable amendment they will bring. Now I'll give you an example. Now, what is the issue here? I'll tell you. The issue is I cannot include this directly in that section 7 of MSMED Act. Why? Because the MSMED Act section 7 speaks about investment in plant and machinery and turnover. But with respect to traders, can I bring an investment in plant and machinery? No. I have to only bring turnover criteria. That's all. Maybe investment in plant and machinery I cannot bring because they will only have stock. So for them, I have to bring another subsection, maybe 7A or 7B. There I will only say turnover criteria, or maybe the stock criteria I can bring it. So that is, they have to think about it. They have to take the statistics and then only they'll bring. So my view is they'll only bring a turnover criteria. They cannot bring a stock criteria.
Okay, sir. Whether it would be retrospective or prospective, because you mentioned this notification on May 5th, RBI notification regarding restructuring of MSMEs. It said only those are standing standard assets that needs to be restructured.
Standard assets as on 31/3/2021
Yes, sir.
will be restructured during 21-22 because of the lockdown.
Second lockdown.
So I will be restructuring it till 31/3/2022. Now, this amendment, if at all they are bringing that amendment, that will be only be prospective under the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Act. But they are giving the effect today itself because you are registered. In the portal, you are registered. Without a legal standing, you are getting registration. That means if you even somebody go to court also, you are deemed to be a micro, small, medium enterprise from the day you are registered. So I will give you the sanity later because those are only because those amendment has to go to legal ministry and legal ministry has to approve it. Then only it will go to the approval stage. Ministry of MSME ministry will approve it. MSME ministry will send the draft. Legal department has to approve it. So that is why they first release the office memorandum, so that let the benefit be enjoyed by the respective parties.
So then this interest on late payment to traders also will kick in, like how for MSME enterprise it was there in the Companies Act. So you have to classify the MSMEs and take then pay interest if you are late in payment, more than 45 days, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. But my view is still amendment is not done. So therefore, for the limited purpose of getting the benefits under the Reserve Bank of India's notification, they are allowed to register. Then only they will get the benefit from the Reserve Bank of India's notification. But with respect to Companies Act classification and all, the act has to be amended. Until such time, I need not, because as a person to whom I have to pay, if I am my creditors or MSME, so traders, I will not classify as MSME. I will only classify them as others as of today.
So processing charges and all the benefits available to MSME will kick in for traders also from
only after amendment. Only after
amendment. Because you said with respect to RBI, then for banks only this processing charges and everything are there. So maybe we can.
No. See, that particular amendment, what I showed, that that particular notification of Reserve Bank of India is only to give them the benefit of that restructuring. Otherwise, many account will go NPA. and unnecessarily surfacey that this everything has to come. So they are actually what do you call it as a performing asset only. So why you should push them to non-performing? So make them restructure. So this is actually a silent move. So the active resolution, active change will come a little late.
Postponing the inevitable. That is it. So giving some time more so that the share prices don't fall, mergers can happen.
Can we request some of the members to share their views, please?
Yes, yes, Subbarao sir.
Mr. Purushottam Reddy, we have Sudhakar Rao.
Subbarao sir, please. Subbarao sir started speaking.
We have Anuradha Bisani. We have Krishna Tattavarthi. We have Madiraju Venkateswarlu. Narayan Swami is there. Then we have Ratnavelu Damodaran.
Sir, Subbarao sir wanted to speak.
Please.
Not stop. Subbarao sir, please.
Chartered accountants are allowed to register under MSME. So what are the benefits available to chartered accountants?
Car loan processing charges one, which I availed recently.
No. What is it?
What are the benefits available to chartered accountants since they are MSME?
Are allowed, no, for MSME.
Actually, my view is
whether we can enjoy the benefit of delayed payment of fees from clients.
Sir, my view is my individual view. I may be offensive also. Please don't take it other way because all of us are friends here. My view is as chartered accountants, maybe we can register as a MSME, but better we should not avail any of the benefits or incentive. It will only be an enabler to give to ensure that the benefit reaches the producers, the manufacturers. We are service providers. By enabling them, we will get the benefit automatically. So that is my view. And Somi Setti Rice Industries has raised his hand. We can request him. Somi Setti.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yeah.
I just want to know if you have any idea of this guaranteed emergency credit line that was given for
See, the guaranteed emergency credit line is applicable for all business borrowers, including individuals.
But in our bank, we came to know that we were just given only 20% of it.
20%
in April. Yeah, I've heard that there is 40% eligibility for that.
40% is not for 2.0. It is for 3.0. 3.0 is for hotel industries, hotel, restaurants, resorts, aircraft operators. So these industries only are maximum affected. For them only 40%.
It's not applicable for rice industry.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
So, okay, Ji, then you can take a call to close it. We have Mr. Nalam Balakrishna Gandhi, NBK Gandhi. Very good evening, sir. May I request your
good evening, sir.
May I request you to share your thoughts, please.
Thank you, sir, for giving me an opportunity to express my views on your today's wonderful lecture. You have given many references which a practitioner can focus for MSMEs. You highlighted the recent circular of 2nd July for the traders is an eye-opener. Specific reference to rice and blue revolution is a very important issue for in the present issue, especially for Krishna district and for all coastal districts for that matter. And people can take advantage by consulting their practitioners so that the scheme is benefiting everybody. And thank you for enlightening all of us in a very, very simple language. And you tried your best to talk to us in Telugu, but your English itself is translated into Telugu while we are listening. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So
We have,
today,
yes, sir.
sir, so I would like to mention a few points about today's session because I myself got enlightened on especially the subsidies available to the aquaculture. I was under an impression or I was ignorant to the fact that these kind of subsidies are not available, nor I have read it and nor I got mentioned anywhere in these meetings. So that was one which was value addition. And also rice mill sector, we have discussed among the chartered accountants here also. They were saying that no subsidies are coming down to rice mill sector, but you have said that these some subsidies are available. So we'll try to work on them and we'll try to educate our clients to get them. Because earlier we used to get this 25% subsidy and 15% subsidy. But recently we got to know from past 2-3 years that they are not coming. So we'll try to work on that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We have one ex-banker. May I request Mr. Venkatrao, Uppuluri Venkatrao, can you just share your thoughts and views, please? Venkatrao.
Yes, sir. Namaste. Nice to hear your session on MSME, sir. It is not only helpful to what you call entrepreneurs falling under MSME category, even for bankers, what you call who are in the what you call service of bank. This MSME lecture has been extremely useful because we have given a very snapshot of what are all the definitions, what are the benefits available in a very, very lucid and concise manner. It will be helpful to any one of them, even for any competitive examinations also. Not only that, whenever any client approaches them, they will be able to clarify and guide them in a more confident way. And clearly, they will be able to explain what are the incentives available and where the material is available, whether it is RBI circular or AP state government, what you call MSME plan document. Very, very useful. And your session has been, as usual, extremely useful to all categories and all fraternities. Thank you very much. I am also benefited with your sessions. Thank you so much.
Anybody from outside Andhra Pradesh or Tamil Nadu?
Sir, one suggestion, sir, if it can be done, if you can prepare a compendium or if you have, you can circulate of all the important subsidies or schemes so that we can circulate it at Nellore at least. So that will be very helpful.
Yeah, I'll do that.
As a reference, sir.
Yeah, I'll do that. So how about we have one person, I think, Anuradha madam, Anuradha Bisani, can you just share your thoughts? Mr. T.K. Rajashekaran. So I think they are not able to, they are not connected to mic.
Yeah, sir. But
we have Rovina Lobo. Rovina Lobo, good evening. Can you just share your thoughts, please? I think they are also. Anyhow, you can, Chairman, you can take your closing remarks.
Yes, sir. Arun, let us proceed to vote of thanks and the closure of the proceedings.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of Nellore branch of SIRC of ICI, I thank today's faculty, CA Dr. Gopal Krishnaraj sir, for accepting our branch invitation. As the Nellore branch chairman, Sujit Kumar Jain said, he has encouraged us to make this seminar a public, as the subject matter will benefit the public at large. I thank Gopal Krishnaraj sir for his excellent session and explaining what are the benefits available under MSME and who comes under MSME. I thank today's chief guest, CA K. Jalapati sir, chairman of SIRC, and guest of honor, CA T. Chinnamastan sir, for accepting our invitation. Due to some other commitment, CA Chinnamastan sir was unable to attend the seminar. We are always thankful for their cooperation. I also take this opportunity to thank the public for their effective participation in the seminar and making it a success. Total of 125 members have attended this webinar. We thank each and every member for participating to this webinar. Thank you all. Thank you. Good night.